With continuous investment, the SharePoint Connector, or SPC for short, has become a mature PPMetrics product, having been originally released 8 years ago. This tool allows exchange of almost any type of PPM and SharePoint data, irrespective of how these two systems have been configured or used. This latest release has several interesting new features. We now support SharePoint Online. In addition, other enhancements include advanced new filters and options for data mappings to better support use cases provided through customer feedback. One unique feature now available is the ability to create basic graphical reporting elements when exporting data from PPM to SharePoint without the need for SharePoint Designer or Microsoft SRSS. So let's take a look at some of these new capabilities while using SharePoint Online instance to demonstrate. So here we have our SharePoint Online instance. You can see that we have a project list with no data just yet. So let me switch to the next tab. So here we have PPM. So for the SharePoint connector to determine what data needs to be exchanged between the systems, system administrators submit a PPM request, which we call a data mapping. On the screen, we have our sample SPC data mapping, and it's called Push PFM Projects to SharePoint. So specifically, our source is PPM, and specifically, we're going to use PFM projects, and the target is going to be SharePoint. So I want to quickly point out a few new features on this request type. So we have this field called Suspend Data Mapping. If it's set to yes, the data exchange program that runs in the background will ignore this data mapping. So this is particularly useful if you're setting up the data mapping initially or just making updates and you don't want the SPC to do any processing until you've completed your setup. So if we scroll down here in section number 2 or step number 2, in the systems, we also have a new field called Use as Template. So what this field allows me to do is use this data mapping as a template to create subsites. Previously, the SharePoint Connector was limited and could only create sites from a PPM workflow step. That capability is still there. But now we can also perform advanced settings by filling out some information in section number 7, and it's aptly called Template. So, for example, you can have the site that gets created inherit new site administrators based on PPM information from the other fields, rather than just the pre-existing SharePoint template. Scrolling back up. Right past the fields, or section number 4, we have our standard field mappings. We have some filters that we've added that have been requested by our customers. Below that, we have the advanced section. And there's some new fields to add some granularity to the data being exchanged. We'll talk about these fields down here. And we have this field called Document Library. So this allows documents, when they get pushed from PPM, to get pushed to a different library of your choice, rather than the default document library under your site in SharePoint. So before we actually run the data exchange program to push the project information into SharePoint, let's actually take a look at the projects as they stand in PPM. Go to my dashboard. So here's a portlet showing exactly that data. And this is actually specifically the project list portlet. There's 31 projects listed here. So now I'll go ahead and run the data exchange program, which actually gets invoked as a PPM report. So this is that SPC data exchange report. We already set it up so it's gone ready to run. Submit the report. Okay, so the report ran successfully, and you can see we've also beefed up the report results as well. We can see all the relevant data mappings that got processed, including the one that we were just talking about, this push PFM projects to SharePoint. And we can see we've actually processed 31 items. So these are 31 project records we processed. And if I want detailed logs about what's actually happening in the background, we actually now provide a link down here to actually look at those full logs for troubleshooting purposes. Let's go back to SharePoint. I'll hit refresh. All right, so here you can see all the requested PPM project information that got exported to this list. We have our standard items like project name, project ID, we have progress, project status, plan finish. Basically, these are the same fields from our project list portlet. What really gets interesting is the progress and health columns. So what's interesting is that we're now able to construct these simple reporting graphics because the SPC is now able to pass on HTML information to SharePoint. Depending on the use case, we don't need to use SharePoint Designer or Microsoft SRSS to create graphical reports. There are numerous new enhancements and features in this release of the SharePoint Connector, and many of these are a direct result of customer suggestions and requests. let me go ahead and summarize the overall capabilities of this versatile tool. The SPC provides a bidirectional exchange of data. You can flexibly schedule data transfer when it happens and how often. You can synchronize any type of PPM data, including standard fields, custom fields, attachments, and custom queries. You can create as many user-defined data mappings as you like. You can also integrate with multiple SharePoint sites. You can also create SharePoint project sites from PPM, and now you can do it from not only the workflow steps, you can also do it directly from a data mapping. You can also selectively integrate PPM data into Outlook as well. Thank you for watching this video of the latest release of the SharePoint Connector, or SPC for short. Please feel free to contact us at info@ppmetrics.com. Any questions, comments, or like to schedule a full demo. Be sure to visit us at www.ppmetrics.com as well. Thank you.